The night I walked through that restaurant door, the talking stopped. Not all at once. Not like a movie. It was smaller than that, but sharper. Like a knife sliding under a smile. A woman's fork froze halfway to her mouth. A man's eyes moved from my shoes to my old bag and then to my face, as if he was checking if I belonged in the room. My daughter's husband swallowed hard, and my daughter Hannah squeezed my hand so tight it almost hurt. I pretended I did not notice any of it. I kept my back straight, my steps calm and my face soft. I even gave my best sorry to bother you smile, the one people believe when they think you have nothing. Because this was my plan. I had a job that paid me $50,000 every month, and I had never told my daughter, not once. Hannah thought I was just a simple old mother living on little money. She thought I saved coins in a jar because I had to. She thought my old phone was all I could afford. She thought my small apartment was the best I could do. She was wrong, but she was wrong because I wanted her to be. I never wanted Hannah to look at me and see a wallet. I wanted her to see a mother. I wanted her to learn to stand on her own feet, not lean on my shadow. I wanted her to build a life with honest hands, not a life built on secrets and easy help. So I lived simply, quietly, carefully. And when Hannah called me 2 days ago, her voice bright but shaking, I knew my simple life was about to collide with someone else's pride. "Mom," she said, "Omar's parents want to meet you." Omar was my son-in-law. Hannah married him 8 months ago. He was polite. He brought flowers on my birthday. He always called me auntie with respect. But he also had a habit I did not like. He went quiet when his parents were mentioned. That kind of quiet is never empty. It is always full of fear. They invited us to dinner, Hannah continued, at a nice place. Like, really nice. "Please come, Mom, it's important." "Why important?" I asked gently. There was a pause. I could hear Hannah breathing through her nose like she was holding something back. I want them to like you," she said finally, small and honest. "I want them to see we're a good family." That sentence told me more than a long speech. When people are kind, you don't have to beg for kindness. You don't have to earn it by looking good enough. So I promised I would come. After we hung up, I stood in my kitchen for a long moment, staring at the kettle as it warmed. My home was clean, but nothing fancy. My table had a few tiny scratches from years of work. A small plant sat by the window, leaning toward the light like it was trying to be brave. I thought of Hannah's face as a child watching me pack her lunch in a brown paper bag. I thought of how she used to say, "Mom, I'll buy you a big house one day." And I would laugh and say, "Just buy me peace." Now she had a husband, a new family, new rules she didn't control. And this dinner was a doorway. So I made a choice that surprised even me. I would not tell Hannah the truth before the dinner. I would go as the mother Hannah believed I was. A ruined and naive mother. Not because I liked games, I hated games. But because some people only show their real face when they think you cannot fight back. In the morning, I dressed like I always did. A simple blouse, a plain skirt, shoes that were clean but old enough to show I did not shop for fun. I tied my hair back with a cheap clip. I put on no jewelry except my wedding ring, which I still wore even though my husband had been gone for many years. I didn't do it to trick people for fun. I did it to protect my daughter. Because if Omar's parents were the kind of people who respected only money, I needed to know now. Not later when Hannah might be trapped under their judgment every day. At noon, Hannah arrived with Omar in their small car. Hannah stepped out first, smiling too hard. Her smile was bright, but her eyes looked tired. "Mom," she said, hugging me, "you look nice." Then she glanced down at my shoes. A flicker of worry crossed her face so fast she thought I wouldn't catch it. She did not mean to hurt me. She was scared. She wanted everything to go smoothly. Omar stood behind her, holding the car door, his shoulders stiff. "Good afternoon, Auntie," he said. "Good afternoon, Omar," I answered. I watched him closely. His eyes were kind, but his jaw was tight. Hannah pulled back and looked at my outfit again. "Mom, do you want to wear something else? I can lend you one of my dresses, or we can stop by a shop." I smiled like it was a sweet joke. "Why? Is my dress angry at someone?" Hannah forced a laugh, but it didn't reach her eyes. "It's just, they're very, fancy people still eat with mouths," I said softly. "And they still have hearts. If they have good hearts, they won't care about my dress." Omar cleared his throat. My parents are traditional, he said. Traditional is fine, I replied. Respect is also traditional. Omar looked away. In the car, Hannah chatted to fill the silence. She talked about the weather, about work, about a new lamp she wanted for their living room. But her fingers twisted her ring again and again. I watched the streets pass, shops, people, cars, everyone rushing somewhere as if life was a race. I wasn't rushing, I was preparing. When we reached the restaurant, my stomach did a small twist. The building was bright and tall, the windows were huge, showing clean white tablecloths and shiny glasses. A man in a suit stood at the door like a guard for rich people's dreams. Hannah took my hand again. Mom, she whispered, please don't be upset if they say something weird, they just... I squeezed her hand back. Hannah, look at me. She looked up. I kept my voice gentle. No matter what happens inside, you don't have to shrink, understand? Her eyes watered a little. She blinked fast. Okay, she said. Omar walked ahead, opening the door. Warm air rushed out, smelling like butter and spices. Soft music played. People laughed quietly in expensive clothes. And then I stepped inside. And that's when the room changed. Not because I was loud, because I was not what they were expecting. I saw them at a table near the center. Omar's father sat like a king in a dark suit. Omar's mother sat beside him, dressed in a sparkling blouse, her hair perfect, and next to them sat a woman I did not know, wearing a bright smile that looked painted on. Their eyes landed on me. First my shoes, then my bag, then my face. Omar's father's smile didn't grow, it tightened. Omar's mother's eyebrows lifted just a little, like she was surprised a real poor person could walk in without permission. The unknown woman's lips curved, amused, like she had just been given a funny story to tell later. Hannah's hand trembled in mine, and I understood right then. This was not just a dinner, this was a test, and they thought I was the one being tested. I kept my smile soft and calm as we walked toward the table, and I let my ruined and naive mother mask settle gently over my face, like a scarf I had worn many times before. Hannah stayed close to me as we reached the table like I was a child who might get lost. Omar moved first, clearing his throat. Mom, Dad, this is Auntie Noura. Auntie Noura. That was what he always called me, respectful, safe, a word that tried to keep peace. Omar's father stood P slowly. He was tall, with a strong chin and eyes that looked like they measured things. Not just people, everything, clothes, shoes, bags, even the way you breathed. Welcome, he said, but his voice did not match the word. His handshake was quick and light, like he didn't want my poor to touch him too long. Omar's mother stood next. Her smile was bright, but it sat on her face like a mask. She kissed the air near my cheek, not too close, and said, We've heard so much. The woman beside her leaned forward as if she could not help herself. Oh, and you must be the mother, she said, her eyes sliding over my skirt. I'm Lena. We're practically family. Nice to meet you, I said. I kept my voice soft, almost shy. I dropped my eyes for a second like I felt small. I even held my bag close to my body, like a worried person would do. Inside, I was steady. Hannah sat beside me, her posture straight, trying to look confident. Omar sat across from me, too close to his parents, like he was still their little boy. Omar's father, Mr. Karim, tapped the menu with one finger. This place is excellent, he announced, loud enough for other tables to hear. Not cheap, of course, but quality costs. He looked at me when he said not cheap. I nodded slowly. I'm sure it's very nice, I replied. Mrs. Karim folded her hands. So, she said sweetly, Noura, tell us about yourself. There it was. The first arrow. I smiled as if I was grateful to be asked. There isn't much to tell. I live quietly. I take care of my little home. I do small work here and there. What kind of work? Lena asked fast, leaning in. I made my eyes widen, like I didn't understand why it mattered. Oh, I help with cleaning sometimes, and I do sewing, simple things. Hannah's eyes flicked to me. I could tell she wanted to correct it. She knew I did more than simple things, even if she didn't know the truth. But she stayed quiet because she had already learned that Omar's family loved to talk over people. Mr. Karim gave a small laugh. Sewing, he repeated, like it was a funny word. Well, at least you keep busy. Then he turned to Hannah, not to me. And Hannah, my dear, you're working at that office job still? Yes, Hannah said. Mrs. Karim interrupted, waving a hand. A young wife should not exhaust herself. A home needs attention. A husband needs peace. Hannah's cheeks warmed. I like working, she said carefully. Lena smiled in a way that didn't feel kind. Some women like working because they have to, she said, and then glanced at me again. My daughter's fingers curled tightly in her lap. I saw it. I felt it like a sting. I did not rush to defend myself. Not yet. I wanted to see how far they would go when they thought I was powerless. A waiter came over with a calm smile. Good evening. Would you like sparkling water? Mr. Kareem didn't even look at the waiter. Yes. And bring the best appetizers. The best, he repeated, as if saying it twice would make him or important. Mrs. Kareem nodded. And make it quick. When the waiter turned to me, I gave a small, shy smile. Just tap water is fine, I said. Mr. Kareem's eyes flashed. He leaned back, pleased, like he had proven something. Hannah looked at me confused. She mouthed silently, Are you sure? I nodded gently, like everything was fine. It wasn't about water. It was about what people did when they thought you couldn't afford to choose. As the menus opened, Mr. Kareem started ordering like he was building a tower. The steak, the seafood platter, the imported dessert, and a bottle of that one, he said, pointing without reading the price. He looked at Omar. You will try the lamb. It's good for a man. Omar nodded quickly. Of course, Dad. Then Mr. Kareem looked at Hannah. You can have the chicken. Simple. Hannah's mouth opened slightly. She closed it again. Mrs. Kareem smiled. Yes, chicken is fine. Light. Keeps a woman. Neat. I watched Hannah swallow her words. I watched Omar stare at the menu like it might save him. Then the waiter asked me, And for you, ma'am? This was another little moment. The table turned toward me, waiting to see what a poor mother would do. I lowered my eyes, pretending to be embarrassed. Oh, whatever is cheapest is okay, I said softly. Mr. Kareem's smile grew wider. Good, good, he said. A practical woman. Lena giggled. So humble, she said. Like humility was a costume I wore for fun. Hannah's face tightened. She leaned closer to me and whispered, Mom, please. I touched her hand under the table. My touch said, Not yet. As food came, so did more questions. Where do you live? Mrs. Kareem asked. In a small apartment, I replied. It's old, but it's home. Do you rent? Lena asked. Yes, I said. Mr. Kareem nodded like a judge. Rent is a trap, he said loudly, but what can you do? Some people don't plan. I smiled politely, as if he had taught me a lesson. Inside, I felt something colder forming, not anger for myself, anger for Hannah, because they were not just judging me, they were using me to push Hannah into a smaller box. Mrs. Kareem leaned forward. Hannah told us you raised her alone. I did, I said. And her father? Mr. Kareem asked, sharp. He passed away, I answered simply. Mrs. Kareem's lips pressed together. So difficult, she murmured, but her eyes looked more curious than sad. And you managed. How? I let my shoulders droop just a little. We had hard years, I said softly, but Hannah is a good girl. She helped me. We got through. That part was true in a way. We did have hard years, long ago. I just never left the careful habits behind. Mr. Kareem took a slow sip of his drink. Well, he said, it's good Hannah married into stability. Hannah's eyes widened. Excuse me? She said, her voice small but firm. Mr. Kareem acted surprised. I mean, Omar has a strong family. We know how to live properly. Omar shifted in his seat. Dad, but his voice was weak, a small candle in a strong wind. Lena leaned in again, eyes shining with gossip. So, Auntie Noura, she said, you must be so relieved Hannah has support now. Support. That word can sound kind, but in her mouth it sounded like a chain. I looked at Hannah. I saw her breathing faster. I saw her eyes blink hard, trying not to cry. This dinner was not a celebration. It was a warning, a message hidden inside fancy plates. Then Mr. Kareem set down his fork and smiled at me like he was about to be generous. Noura, he said, we are family now, yes? Yes, I replied politely. Good, he said. So we should speak openly. Hannah and Omar will need guidance. They will need to make wise choices. Mrs. Kareem nodded. Especially about money, she added softly. Omar's shoulders stiffened. Hannah looked between them. What do you mean? Mr. Kareem waved. his hand like it was nothing. Later, he said, not during dinner, but he had already dropped the stone into the water. Now the ripples were moving. I sat very still, my face calm, my voice gentle, but inside I was wide awake, because I suddenly understood something important. They didn't invite me here to welcome me. They invited me here to measure me, and if I was too poor, they would use that as a weapon against my daughter. I looked down at my hands, pretending to be nervous. Then I looked back up at Hannah, and I gave her a small smile. It was meant to comfort her, but it was also a promise. I see everything, my SM. Ailil said, and I'm not done watching yet. The food looked beautiful, but it tasted like paper in Hannah's mouth. I could tell. She chewed slowly, like each bite was hard to swallow. Mr. Kareem kept eating like a man who owned the whole room. He spoke with his mouth full, laughed too loud, and pointed his fork when he wanted attention. Mrs. Kareem smiled often, but her smile never reached her eyes. She watched Hannah the way some people watch a painting in a shop, thinking about value, not feeling. And Lena watched me like I was entertainment. Omar stayed quiet. He nodded when his father spoke. He laughed when his mother made small jokes. He did not look at Hannah as much as he should have. Hannah tried to be polite. She asked about the restaurant. She asked about Omar's childhood. She even praised the food, even though her hands were shaking. I kept my ruined mother face on, soft voice, lower eyes, small smile, but my ears were wide open. Mr. Kareem wiped his mouth with a napkin like it was a performance. So, he said, Hannah told us you live alone. Yes, I answered. In that small apartment, Lena added, like she had already decided what my life looked like. Yes, I said again, nodding. Mrs. Kareem tilted her head. And you manage? She asked. Rent, bills, food. It must be hard. I let out a small sigh. We do what we can, I said. Mr. Kareem leaned back. Hard life, he said, and then looked at Hannah. You should be thankful you married into a proper home. Hannah's cheeks went red. Omar and I built our life together, she said carefully. We both work. Mr. Kareem gave a short laugh. Work is one thing, he said, but security is another. He said it like it was the final word. Omar finally spoke, but his voice was weak. Dad, Hannah is doing great. She's... Mr. Kareem raised one hand and Omar stopped mid-sentence. Like a remote control had been used on him. I felt Hannah's fingers tighten under the table. I covered her hand with mine, warm and steady. She looked at me and I saw a question in her eyes. Why are they like this? I didn't answer with words. I answered by staying calm, because calm is a kind of protection too. Then Lena leaned forward, smiling too brightly. Auntie Noura, she said, you must be proud Hannah married Omar. His family has standards. Standards. It sounded like a compliment, but it was really a wall. Yes, I said quietly. I'm proud of Hannah. Lena blinked, disappointed I didn't praise the Kareems. Mr. Kareem placed his glass down with a sharp little sound. We have standards because we worked for them, he said. Not everyone understands that. Mrs. Kareem nodded. Some people waste money, she added softly, and later they struggle. Their eyes moved to my bag again. My old bag. They were speaking about me without saying my name. Hannah's voice shook. Please, she said. Can we just enjoy dinner? Mrs. Kareem reached across and patted Hannah's hand, like Hannah was a child. Of course, dear. We're just speaking honestly. Honesty is a funny word. People use it like a shield when they want to hurt someone and not feel guilty. A waiter came with dessert menus. Mr. Kareem didn't even open it. Bring the gold dessert, he said. The one everyone talks about. The waiter nodded. Then Mr. Kareem looked at me. And you, he asked, you will have tea? He didn't say it kindly. He said it like he was assigning me a small corner. I smiled shyly. Tea is fine, I said. Hannah's head snapped toward him. Mom can have whatever she wants, she said, louder than before. The table went quiet. Omar's eyes widened. His mother's smile froze. Lena's mouth opened just a little, like she was happy to see drama. Mr. Kareem stared at Hannah. We are ordering plenty, he said slowly. Why are you acting like this? Because you keep talking about my mother like she is less, Hannah said. Her voice trembled, but she did not stop. She is not less. My heart squeezed. I wanted to pull her back to protect her from what might come next. But I also felt something else. Pride. Hannah had been trying so hard to fit into their world, Tonight she was finally standing up straight. Mrs. Karim sighed, looking tired on purpose. Hana, she said, we never said she is less. We are just concerned. Concerned about what? Hana asked. Mr. Karim tapped the table once. Concerned that you are carrying too much, he said. A man's wife should not carry burdens from her old life. Old life. He meant me. Omar shifted, eyes down. Dad, that's not what— Enough, Mr. Karim said, and Omar fell silent again. I felt Hana's breathing change. She looked like she might cry, not because she was weak, but because she was holding too many feelings at once. I squeezed her hand under the table. Then I spoke softly, like a tired old woman who didn't want trouble. Hana, my love, I said gently. It's okay. Hana shook her head. No, Mom, it's not okay. Mr. Karim stared at me. You should teach your daughter respect, he said. I lowered my eyes. I taught her respect, I replied quietly. That's why she's speaking with a steady voice, not with cruelty. Lena made a small sound, like she didn't expect that. Mrs. Karim's smile returned, but it looked thin. Let's not fight, she said. It's a family dinner. Family dinner? If this was family, it felt like a family that bites. Dessert arrived. Shiny, golden, expensive. Mr. Karim looked pleased. Lena took pictures. Mrs. Karim praised the chef loudly. Hana barely touched hers. When the waiter brought the bill folder, Mr. Karim picked it up quickly, like he wanted everyone to see it. He didn't open it yet. He just held it. He looked at Omar. This is what it means to host, he said, to provide. Then he glanced at me again. Some people don't understand that word. I smiled softly, still playing my part. You are very generous, I said. He leaned back, satisfied. Dinner ended with hugs that felt like elastic. Hana hugged Mrs. Karim, but her arms were stiff. Omar hugged his parents like a boy trying to earn approval. I hugged no one. I just smiled, thanked them, and followed Hana toward the door. Outside, the air was cold and clean. Hana took a deep breath like she had been underwater. In the car, she stared ahead, silent. Omar drove with tight hands on the wheel. After a few minutes, Hana whispered, Mom, I'm sorry. I turned toward her. For what? For bringing you into that, she said, her voice breaking. I took her hand again, warm and firm. You didn't bring me into anything, I said softly. You showed me something I needed to see. Omar swallowed. They didn't mean to— I raised one finger, gently, not rude. Omar, I said, calm as morning. You don't have to defend what is wrong. He went quiet. We reached my apartment. Hana walked me to the door. Her eyes were wet. I touched her cheek. Listen, I said. Your worth is not decided at a dinner table. Hana nodded, wiping a tear quickly. I wanted them to like you. I kissed her forehead. If someone needs money to be kind, I whispered, then their kindness was never real. Hana hugged me tight. After they left, I went inside, closed the door, and stood in the quiet. My simple home felt smaller than usual, but my mind felt sharp. I opened my old bag and took out a small notebook. I wrote down what I saw, every comment, every look, every little moment. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted truth. And I knew now that the Karims had plans. Not good plans. Plans that could pull Hana into a life where she would always be asked to bend. I placed the notebook on the table, poured myself tea, and stared at the steam rising. Very soon I would have to stop pretending. But not yet. First, I needed to understand exactly what they wanted from my daughter. The next morning, Hana called me before the sun was fully up. Her voice sounded small, like a child trying not to wake a sleeping monster. Mom, are you awake? Yes, my love, I said softly. I'm awake. There was a pause, then a shaky breath. I can't stop thinking about last night, she whispered. I feel stupid. That word hit me hard. You are not stupid, I said at once. Don't ever say that about yourself. But I didn't see it, Hana said. I didn't see how they would look at you, how they would talk. I thought if we just smiled and tried hard, it would be fine. I leaned my forehead against the kitchen window for a moment and watched the street below. People walked fast, carrying bags, carrying worries. Hana, I said gently, you didn't do anything wrong. You tried to build peace. That is not a crime. She sniffed. Omar says I'm making a big deal. He says his parents are just like that. And how did that make you feel? I asked. She was quiet. Then she answered in a tiny voice, like I'm alone. My heart tightened. I hated that feeling for her. I hated it more than the rue. To words at the restaurant. I kept my voice calm so she could borrow my calm. You are not alone, I said. Not while I am breathing. After we hung up, I washed my cup slowly, thinking carefully. I wasn't thinking about expensive food or proud voices. I was thinking about something deeper. When a person lets others disrespect you again and again, what does that mean? Maybe they are afraid. Maybe they are weak. Or maybe they agree. I didn't want to jump to the worst thought. But a mother's mind does not sleep when her child is hurting. Around noon, Hannah came over. Omar didn't come. He had work, she said, but her eyes told me she wasn't sure it was really work. Hannah sat at my small table, remembered by scratches and years. She stared at the sugar bowl like it was a puzzle. I didn't sleep, she admitted. I set tea in front of her. Drink, I said. Warm things help us think. She took a sip, then sighed. Mom, do you think they hate me? No, I said. They don't hate you. That would mean they see you as a full person. They see you as something they can shape. Hannah looked up fast. Shape? I nodded. They want you to fit into their picture, their rules, their pride. And if you don't fit, they push harder. Hannah's eyes filled again. Omar used to be different, she whispered. Before the wedding. He was kinder. He listened. Sometimes, I said carefully, people change when they think they have already won something. Hannah flinched like that idea hurt. So what do? I reached across the table and held her hands. They were cold. You don't fight everyone at once, I told her. You start by protecting your heart. You set small boundaries. You watch who respects them. She swallowed. What if Omar doesn't? We will handle that, I said, and meant it. Hannah stared at me like she was trying to understand me all over again. Mom, you're so calm, she said. How? I smiled, small and sad. Because I've lived long enough to know something. Loud people want you to panic. They want you to react. Calm makes them confused. She let out a tiny laugh, then wiped her cheeks quickly. You always say the strangest things, she murmured. They're only strange because they were true, I replied. After Hannah left, I went through my old bag to put things away. My fingers touched something missing. My small gift bag, the one I brought for the Kareems. I remembered placing it near my chair at the restaurant. In the car, everything happened so fast. I must have left it behind. I could have let it go. It was not expensive. It didn't matter. But something in me said, go back, not because of the bag, because of the truth hiding around that table. So I went to the restaurant alone the next day, dressed the same way I always did, simple, quiet. The door opened with soft music and expensive air. The host looked at me like he was deciding if I could enter. I think I left a small bag here last night, I said politely. He frowned. Nam. E? I gave Hannah's name in the reservation time. He turned to speak to someone, still frowning, like my words were heavy. After a moment, a man in a neat suit walked toward me. His eyes were calm and clear, not judging, just seeing. Hello, he said. I'm the manager. Mr. Samir, you left something? Yes, I said. A small bag. He nodded. One moment. While he checked, I looked around. The same tables, the same glass sparkle. Different people. I wondered how many families came here pretending everything was perfect. Mr. Samir returned with the bag. Here you are, he said kindly. Thank you, I replied, truly grateful. He hesitated, then spoke softly, like he didn't want to step into trouble. You were with the Kareem family last night, yes? I kept my face gentle. Yes. He gave a small, careful nod. I've seen them here many times. They can be difficult. That one sentence landed like a stone. Not because it shocked me, because it matched everything I felt. I didn't ask for gossip. I didn't lean in like Lena. I just listened. Mr. Samir added, I'm sorry if anyone made you feel unwelcome. That is not what we want here. I held the gift bag close and smiled. You were respectful, I said. That matters. He looked relieved, then nodded and stepped away. As I walked out, I felt something settle inside me, a clear shape like a puzzle piece fitting into place. People who are truly confident don't need to prove it at a dinner table. People who are truly we. Alfie don't need to shout it. People who are truly kind don't change their face based on someone's shoes. When I got home, I sat down at my kitchen table again and opened my small notebook. I wrote 2 lines, simple and plain. 1. They judge first, listen later. 2. Hana feels alone with Omar when pressure comes. Then I closed the notebook and stared at the wall for a long time. I had kept my secret for years to protect my daughter's heart from money, but now I had to protect her heart from people. Not with anger, with clarity. I picked up my phone and sent Omar a short message. Come for tea tomorrow, you and Hana. I want to talk as family. Then I placed the phone down and breathed out slowly. I was still pretending to be the ruined, naive mother. But I was not naive, and I was not ruined. I was simply a mother who had finally seen the storm near her daughter's door and decided to stand in front of it. The next day, I cleaned my small kitchen twice. Not because it was dirty, because my hands needed something to do while my mind stayed sharp. I set out 3 cups, not 4. Omar's parents were not invited. This was not a meeting for the whole world. This was for the marriage, inside my daughter's home. When the knock came, Hana entered first. Her eyes looked tired, but she tried to smile. Omar followed behind her. He held a box of sweets like a shield. He didn't meet my eyes right away. Good afternoon, Auntie, he said. Good afternoon, I replied. I didn't hug him. I didn't glare. I just moved aside so they could sit. Calm makes people nervous when they expect drama. Hana sat beside me. Omar sat across from us. He placed the sweets on the table carefully like he was paying a fee. I poured tea slowly. The sound of the liquid was the only sound for a moment. Omar cleared his throat. Auntie, Hana said you were upset about dinner. Hana's head snapped toward him. I said you were upset, she corrected. You saw how they treated her. Omar's cheeks tightened. They didn't treat her badly. They were just... direct, that word again. I placed the teapot down and looked at Omar. Direct is saying pass the salt, not saying someone is less because their bag is old. Omar shifted. They didn't say that. They didn't have to, Hana said, her voice rising. They said it with their faces, with their jokes, with the way they spoke over her like she was a chair. Omar's mouth opened, then closed. He looked at Hana like he wanted to calm her down, not understand her. I watched him carefully, not to attack him, to learn him. Omar, I asked gently, when your father told Hana she should be thankful she married into stability, how did that make you feel? Omar blinked. He didn't mean it that way. That's not an answer, I said, still soft. Omar looked away toward the window. It's just how my father talks. And when your mother told Hana, a wife shouldn't work so much, I continued. How did that make you feel? Omar sighed. They worry, they think a home. Hana slammed her palm lightly on the table, not hard, not wild, just enough to show she was done swallowing. They don't worry about me, she said. They worry about control. Omar stiffened. That's not fair. Hana laughed once, short and bitter. Fair? Your father treated my mother like she was lucky to breathe in that restaurant. Omar's eyes flashed. You're exaggerating. Hana's face fell like a curtain dropping. That look broke my heart more than yelling would have. Because it said, you don't believe me. I reached over and touched Hana's hand. Then I turned back to Omar. Omar, I said, I am going to ask you a simple question, just yes or no. He nodded slowly. If someone disrespects your wife's mother, are they also disrespecting your wife? Omar stared at me. His mouth moved, then stopped. Hana's eyes stayed on him, waiting. Omar finally said, I guess. Hana's voice got quiet, which is sometimes louder than shouting. You guess. Omar rubbed his forehead. Hana, you know I love you. I know, she said, but love isn't enough if you let people crush me and call it tradition. Omar's shoulders sank. You don't understand how my family is, he muttered. I leaned forward slightly. Then help us understand, I said. What do they want? Omar froze, just for a second. But it was enough. Hana noticed too. Omar, she whispered. What do they want? Omar picked up his tea and took a sip. He died. Didn't need. His hand shook a little. It's not like that, he said. Hana's voice sharpened. Then what is it? Omar put the cup down carefully. Too carefully. My parents think we should combine resources, he said. Hana blinked. Combine resources? Omar spoke faster now, like he wanted to rush through it and get to the part where nobody was mad. Not forever, just for a while. My father says it's smarter if we plan as one family. He says we should help them with some things. Hana sat very still. What things? Omar's eyes flicked to me, then away again. Bills. Some debt. It's temporary. Hana's face went pale. Debt? Omar's voice got defensive. It's not huge, and it's my parents. They raised me. Hana's lips parted. She looked like she couldn't breathe for a second. You didn't tell me this, she said quietly. I didn't want to stress you, Omar replied. No, Hana said, shaking her head slowly. You didn't tell me because you knew I would say no. Omar stood up halfway, then sat back down. Hana lifted a hand. Don't, she said. Just don't. The room went silent again. I could hear the faint hum of my old fridge. I could hear a bird outside. Life kept moving while my daughter's marriage stood on a thin edge. I kept my voice calm. Omar, I asked, what exactly did your father ask for? Omar swallowed. He wants us to take a loan, he admitted, under Hana's name, because she has a better approval chance. Hana's eyes widened like S. He had been slapped. You want me to take debt, she whispered, for your parents. It's not like that. It is exactly like that, Hana cut in, her voice shaking. It's my name, my future, my risk. Omar's face tightened. They promised they'll pay it back. Hana let out a small, broken laugh. Your father doesn't even respect my mother's shoes. And you want me to trust him with my life? Omar looked at the table. He didn't answer. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't reveal anything. I stayed inside my role, small, modest, poor, but I made my words clear. Hana will not sign anything, I said. Not out of fear, not out of guilt, not out of pressure. Omar looked up quickly. Auntie, with respect, this is between me and my wife. I nodded once. Then act like it, I said softly. Because right now your parents are sitting in the middle of your marriage like a third person. Omar's jaw clenched. Hana stared at him, waiting for him to choose a side. Omar finally whispered, I just want everyone to be okay. Hana's eyes filled. I want that too, she said, but you keep choosing their comfort over my safety. I stood and began clearing cups, giving them both a moment to breathe. When I returned, Hana had moved her chair slightly away from Omar, not dramatically, just enough to show distance. I placed a napkin near Hana and said gently, You can sleep here tonight if you want. Hana blinked at me. Mom, I'm not forcing anything, I said. I'm offering peace. Omar's face fell. So you're telling her to leave me? No, I answered. I'm telling her she deserves to feel safe while you decide what kind of husband you want to be. Omar looked like he wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Hana stood slowly. I need air, she said. I nodded. Go, I told her. I'll be here when you come back. She walked to the door, paused, and then left without looking at Omar. Omar stayed seated, staring at his hands. I didn't push him. I didn't accuse him. I just said one last quiet sentence the kind a person remembers later when they're alone. Omar, I said, a marriage doesn't break in one big moment. It breaks in many small moments, when one person keeps choosing silence. He didn't answer. He simply sat there, breathing like the truth was heavy, and I knew now exactly what the Kareems were trying to do. Not welcome my daughter. Use her. 2 nights passed before Hana came back to my apartment. She didn't bring a suitcase, just a small tote bag and a face that looked older than it should. When I opened the door, she tried to smile, but it broke halfway. I didn't want to bother you, she whispered. You could never bother me, I said, pulling her into my arms. She smelled like cold air and stress, like someone who had been holding her breath for too long. Inside, she sat at my kitchen table and stared at the same scratches she had stared at as a child. Her fingers traced one line as if it was a road she remembered. D. Omar keeps calling, she said. Do you want to answer? I asked. I don't know, she admitted. Part of me wants to hear him say he understands, and part of me is scared he'll just say the same thing again. I nodded. Both feelings make sense. She took a deep breath. Mom, his parents called too. That made my spine go straight. What did they say? I asked calmly. Hana swallowed. His mother said I was disrespectful. His father said I was acting above my place. Lena sent me a message with a smiley face and wrote, Family must sacrifice. I didn't react with anger even though I felt it. I didn't want Hana to feel like the world was burning. I wanted her to feel like she was standing on solid ground. Did they mention the loan? I asked. Hana nodded. Yes, they said it's a family solution. They want us to come over tomorrow for a serious talk. I poured her tea and pushed the cup toward her. And what did Omar say? I asked. Hannah stared into the tea. He said we should go. He said if we don't, his father will never forgive him. I sat down across from her. And will Omar forgive you if you ruin your future for his father? Hannah's eyes filled. That's what I asked him, she whispered. He didn't answer. The next day we went to the Kareem's home together. Hannah asked me not to at first. She said, Mom, they already treated you badly. I don't want you to see it again. But I told her the truth that mattered most, without revealing my secret. Not coming because I need their approval, I said. I'm coming because you should never face wolves alone. Hannah nodded, and we went. Their house was large and shiny, full of heavy furniture, and decorations that looked expensive. But something felt off. The shine looked new, like it was trying too hard. Like paint over a crack. Mrs. Kareem greeted us with bright eyes and a tight smile. Hannah, she said, opening her arms. Finally. Mr. Kareem didn't hug. He just nodded as if he was approving or rejecting a product. Lena was there too, sitting like she owned the sofa. She wore a new dress and held her phone in her hand, ready for drama like it was a show. Omar stood by the wall. He looked tired. His eyes softened when he saw Hannah, but his body stayed stiff, as if he wasn't allowed to move freely. Mrs. Kareem sat down and patted the seat beside her. Sit, dear. We must talk like adults. Hannah stayed standing, a moment. We are adults, she said quietly. That's why we're here. Mr. Kareem cleared his throat. Good, he said. Then let us speak openly. Those words again. He leaned forward and clasped his hands. Omar has told you the plan, he said, looking at Hannah like she was already a problem. Hannah didn't flinch. Yes, she said. He told me you want a loan in my name. Mrs. Kareem made a sad face. Not in your name, she corrected softly, like she was fixing a small mistake. For the family. It would be in my name, Hannah answered. That's the point, Mr. K. Areem's eyes hardened. You are married, he said. There is no yours, only ours. Hannah's voice stayed calm, but I could hear the shaking underneath. Then why isn't it in your name? The room went still, for a beat. Lena's lips curled, enjoying the tension. Mr. Kareem lifted his chin. Because it is complicated. Hannah nodded slowly. So you want me to carry a complication that isn't mine? Mrs. Kareem sighed, acting hurt. Hannah, why are you speaking like an enemy? We accepted you, like Hannah was a stray animal they allowed into their yard. Omar stepped forward slightly. Hannah, please, he said. Let's just listen. Hannah turned to him. Her eyes shone. I listened, she said. At the restaurant, I listened while your father insulted my mother with jokes. I listened while your mother told me what kind of wife I should be. I listened while you stayed quiet. Omar's face dropped. I wasn't. You were, Hannah said, voice cracking. You were quiet. Mr. Kareem slapped his hand lightly on the armrest. Enough, he barked. This is not about feelings, it's about responsibility. Then be responsible, Hannah replied, and her voice surprised even me with its strength. Pay your own debts. Mrs. Kareem gasped like Hannah had cursed. Lena made a fake sad face. Mr. Kareem pointed a finger. Do you know how shameful it is, he said, for a daughter-in-law to refuse her husband's parents? Hannah blinked back tears. Do you know how shameful it is, she said softly, to use your son's wife like a wallet? The word wallet hit the room like thunder. Omar looked at his father. Dad, he whispered. Is it really that bad, the debt? Mr. Kareem's eyes flashed. Don't question me, he snapped. You want to stand against your own blood? Omar froze again. I watched him and I felt something clear. This wasn't only about money, this was about power. Mrs. Kareem turned to me, smile sharp. Nora, she said, you understand family, yes? Tell Hannah she should support her husband. All eyes came to me. This was the moment they expected the poor mother to beg for peace, to tell Hannah to obey, to accept her place. I kept my voice gentle. Family means protecting each other, I said, not trapping each other. Mr. Kareem's jaw tightened. You have no right to speak, he said. You are a simple woman. I nodded slowly as if I agreed. Yes, I said, I am simple. That's why I can see simple truth. I turned to Hannah. If you sign something you don't understand, you could suffer for years, I said. If Omar loves you, he will not ask you to do that. Omar's eyes met mine for the first time. He looked ashamed. Hannah wiped her cheeks quickly. Then she stood straighter. I won't sign, she said. Mr. Kareem stood too, furious. Then you will regret this, he warned. Hana didn't shout back, she didn't beg, she simply took my hand. We're leaving, she said. Omar moved as if to follow, then stopped, caught between two worlds. I didn't poo. I didn't push him. I just looked at him with the quiet truth of a mother. And Hana and I walked out of that shiny house together, into the clean air, where her breathing finally loosened. In the car, Hana stared out the window and whispered, I think they never wanted me. They wanted what they could take. I squeezed her hand. Now you know, I said softly. And knowing is the start of safety. Behind us, Omar's phone called again and again. But for the first time, Hana didn't jump at the sound. She just sat there, steady, as if she had finally learned that her life belonged to her. The next morning, Hana woke up before me. I found her sitting at my small kitchen table, staring at her phone like it was a sleeping snake. The screen showed Omar's name again and again. He left a voice message, she said quietly. Do you want to hear it? I asked. Hana nodded, but her hands shook when she pressed play. Omar's voice came out tired and thin. Hana, please, I didn't handle it right. I know I didn't. I felt trapped. My dad is pressuring me. My mom is crying. Lena is making it worse. I don't know what to do, but I miss you. Please talk to me. Hana turned the phone face down, like she couldn't breathe with it looking at her. He still said, my dad first, she whispered. Not you, I sat beside her. He's scared, I said. But fear doesn't excuse hurting you. Hana wiped her cheek quickly. I don't want to fight forever, she said. I just want to Faye. El respected. You deserve that, I replied. She stared at my table again, at the scratches, at the simple life she thought was my only life. Then she looked at me with a new kind of confusion. Mom, she asked softly, how are you always so steady? I took a slow breath. This was the moment I had been avoiding for years, not because I liked secrets, because I loved my daughter more than my pride. Hana, I said, there is something I never told you. Her eyes widened. What? I held her hands. After your father passed, I worked very hard. I took a job that most people don't know about. It pays a lot. Hana blinked. How much? My throat tightened, but I said it clearly. $50,000 a month. The room went silent, like the air itself froze. Hana stared at me, mouth slightly open. Mom, that's not real. It's real, I said gently. And I never told you because I wanted you to grow strong without leaning on it. I wanted you to love me for me, not for what I can buy. Hana's eyes filled with tears. So all this time, the jar, the old phone. I lived simply on purpose, I said, because simple living keeps my heart quiet, and it shows me who people truly are. Hana covered her mouth with her hand. Tears spilled out. Why didn't you trust me with the truth? I trusted you, I whispered. I didn't trust the world. She fell into my arms and cried, not from anger but from the shock of realizing how much I had carried alone. When she led back, her face changed. A new strength rose in her eyes. Then they treated you like that for nothing, she said, voice shaking. They treated you like dirt. I nodded. They treated me how they treat people they think are poor. That's the point. Hana stood up, breathing fast, as if fire had lit inside her chest. I want to confront them, she said. We will, I replied, but not like a shouting match. We will do it clean, clear, and safe. I called Omar and told him to meet us in the same restaurant that started this mess. Neutral ground, public place, no hiding behind big sofas and family walls. Omar arrived first, eyes red, hands trembling. He looked at Hana like he wanted to run to her, but he didn't know if he was allowed to. Thank you for coming, I said calmly. Then Mr. Karim and Mrs. Karim arrived, with Lena floating behind them like a shadow that loved drama. The moment they saw me, their faces tightened, because they remembered my poor shoes, my cheap bag, my quiet voice. Mr. Karim forced a smile. Noura, he said, too loud. We had a misunderstanding. Mrs. Karim nodded quickly. Yes, families have emotions. Lena gave a small fake laugh. We should all move on. Hana didn't sit right away. She stood with her shoulders straight. Before we move on, she said, we need truth. Mr. Karim sighed like he was the victim. Truth is simple, he said. Hana embarrassed us. Hana looked him in the eyes. No, she said. You embarrass. Ed yourselves. Mrs. Karim's smile slipped. Hana, dear, don't, Hana cut in, her voice steady. Don't call me dear while you try to use me. Omar's father stiffened. Use you? How dare? I lifted my hand slightly, not rude, just firm. Let her speak, I said. Hana took a breath. You wanted me to take a loan in my name, she said. You wanted to put your debt on my back, and when I said no, you threatened me. Mr. Kareem's jaw clenched. It's family responsibility, and you mocked my mother, Hana continued. You talked to her like she was nothing, like she should be grateful to sit near you. Mrs. Kareem opened her mouth, then closed it. Mr. Kareem snapped. Your mother should know her place. That was it. The last drop. I leaned forward, voice calm as water, but sharp as truth. My place, I said, is wherever respect exists. Mr. Kareem sneered. Respect is earned. I nodded once, then listened carefully. Every eye turned to me. I never told Hana my salary, I said. I earn $50,000 a month. Lena's smile vanished. Mrs. Kareem blinked fast, like her brain couldn't catch up. Mr. Kareem's face went pale, then red. It's true, I said, and I hid it because I wanted Hana to build her life with dignity. I also pretended to be ruined and naive on purpose, because I wanted to see how you treat someone you believe is poor. Silence hit the table like a heavy blanket. Then, like magic, their faces tried to change. Mr. Kareem's P.O. Stir softened. Nora, you should have told us. Mrs. Kareem leaned forward quickly. We didn't mean... Lena forced a laugh. Oh, Auntie, it was just jokes. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult them. I just held up a mirror. You failed, I said simply. Not because you didn't know my money, because you didn't know my humanity. Omar's eyes filled with tears. He looked at Hana, then at his parents, like he was finally seeing them without fog. Mr. Kareem hissed, Omar, say something. Omar stood up, shaking. For the first time, he didn't look at his father for permission. I will say something, he said, voice rough. Dad. Mom, you were wrong. Mrs. Kareem gasped, Omar. Omar turned to Hana. I was wrong too, he whispered. I let it happen. I'm sorry. Hana's face didn't melt instantly. She didn't run into his arms like a movie. She just nodded once, slow and careful. Sorry is a start, she said, but respect is a habit. If you want me back, you choose me, fully, not halfway. Omar swallowed hard. I choose you, he said. Then he faced his parents. No loan, no pressure, no more insults. If you can't respect Hana and her mother, you don't get access to our life. Mr. Kareem looked like he might explode, but the restaurant was quiet around us, and eyes were watching. His pride had nowhere to hide. Hana finally sat down, not because she was weak, but because she was done being pulled like a rope. I'm going home, she said to Omar, but you'll come only if... You mean what you said? Omar nodded quickly. I mean it. I stood, picked up my old bag, and smiled softly at the Kareems. One last lesson without cruelty. Money can buy a table, I said, but it cannot buy a heart. Hana and I walked out together. Omar followed a few steps behind, not pushing, not grabbing, just trying to earn trust the right way. Outside, Hana breathed in cold air and let it out slowly. I thought you were poor, she whispered, looking at me with watery eyes. I squeezed her hand. I was never poor in money, I said. I only acted poor so I could see who was rich in kindness. Hana leaned her head on my shoulder as we walked. And for the first time in many months, she looked like she wasn't shrinking anymore. If this story made you feel something, tell me in the comments. What would you do if someone judged your family by money? And if you want more stories with big twists and strong mothers, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.